This is Paul for Redneck Sports. I believe that everybody should win in life, or at least attempt to. The first three maxims of General Robert Neyland's game maxims, I believe apply to everybody. The team that makes the fewest mistakes will win. Play for and make the breaks. When one comes your way, score. If at first the game or the breaks go against you, don't let up. Put on more steam. Welcome to the channel. Now let's discuss some sports. Like, subscribe, comment. Show what your opinion is. Let me know if you like what you've seen. And I thank you for your support. Howdy y'all, this is Paul with Redneck Sports. I've got a link tree down below that's got all my social media. It's got my Patreon if you want to help. Also, if you like this video, please hit subscribe. It would help me out. Now, I have gotten tired of listening to the disrespect that is given to the service academies. On top of the fact of that almost none of these guys, or men or women, that are playing sports against Division I schools, they aren't expecting to go professional. When they are seniors and everybody else is looking into going pro, they're looking at, they might be getting fired at, whether it's on a ship, whether it's in a jet, whether it's on the ground. They're definitely looking to sign a check that says that they're willing to give their life for this country. And the men who play college football at the academies, they are usually the size of D2, D3 players, yet they're playing Division I football bowl series. And people don't pay attention to them. And so I'm going to give y'all a little bit of a look at the service academies and give y'all a little bit of history so that you understand why you should be putting respect on their name. Now, most people aren't aware of the significance among the different branches of the service when it comes to the service academies. Quite a few of the officers have some kind of connection to the academies. A lot of times when our troops are overseas, the service academy football games are the only way that they're going to hear football. So if they're playing not just themselves, but other teams, this is how some folks, even if they don't root for the service academy, that they get to hear or see their favorite teams. Service Academy football is an international thing. It isn't like Notre Dame. It isn't like Alabama. As much as those are storied programs, these aren't the programs that POWs are talking about. These aren't the programs that are getting talked about in war zones. Get the point? So, y'all that think that, oh, they don't have a lot of eyes on them. The Army-Navy game sells out well in advance. And when you're talking about the biggest eyes, the president sometimes shows up at these games. These games are watched internationally. I like the Alabama-Georgia game that's coming up, but I have a feeling that it won't have anywhere near the audience. See, that's the thing. People talk about, oh, the service academies aren't used to the spotlight. I just heard that from a Group of 5 specialized podcast where they were saying, well, Army's not used to this amount of attention. Wrong. Those West Point cadets happened to have played last year in a game that had far more eyes on it with far less implications. So the Service Academy folks, to get the point out, on just telling you a basic part of it, because we're going to go more in depth, are smaller players because they have to abide by the weight, height, body mass, or body fat restrictions that the regular members of the military have to abide by. So they're normally like D2, D3 size players playing. Look at the size of the Alabama football team or the LSU football team. Army played LSU last year. Look at the size of the LSU football team, then go take a look at what the size of an Army football player is. That's the same across all three academies. And these guys are playing D1 FBS football at a decent level most years. And they're playing the exact same teams that everybody else is. Yes, they might play one FCS, but they're also playing Notre Dame every year. They're playing Mountain West if you're Air Force. This year, it's Army and Navy are playing the American Athletic Conference. Yeah, they actually do have some reasons to be respected. Now, let's get into the Air Force Academy. Now, Air Force Academy is the youngest of the three academies at only about 60 years old, created just after World War II. Now, they happen, in the modern sense, to have sustained a higher level of football play than Army or Navy in the past few years. They've also won the Commander-in-Chief's Trophy, which is the trophy that is given to the Service Academy that wins more impressively, because all three academies play each other. And also, even if there's like a little bit of a question, whoever's ranked higher gets it. And they've had it 21 times, which is actually more than Army or Navy, like I said. Past few years, they've been ranked a few times. They've played in bowl games pretty much every year. Armed Forces Bowl 2 years in a row. First Responder, Cheez-It, Arizona Bowl, Armed Forces Bowl again, Idaho Potato. This 2014, 15, 16, 19, 21, 22, 23. Before that, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Yeah, you see, they've had the greatest success of the three academies, and they've been winning enough to get them to bowl games. And they win in the bowl games on occasion. They've beaten Western Michigan. They've beaten South Alabama, Washington State, Louisville. They've won against Baylor, James Madison. They've beaten Georgia Tech. So, yeah, the Air Force Falcons happen to know a thing or two about playing some football. Air Force is currently 2-1 this year, and their one win was against an FCS school. They got beat by San Jose State and Baylor. This year's just a down year for them, which happens with the service academies. Army this year is 3-0. They beat Rice and Florida Atlantic and Lehigh. Okay, so Lehigh's FCS. Over the years, Army's had 5 national championships. They've also had 3 Heisman Trophy winners. Doc Blanchard, Glenn Davis, Mr. Inside, Mr. Outside, Pete Dawkins. There was a short time from 98 to 2004, the team was a member of Conference USA. They've usually been considered independent, but now they're going to be playing with the American Athletic Association. Now, there's been some controversies over the years inside the program, but overall, they've done pretty good. It's just the past few years that they're working their way back up to what they used to be. Jeff Munkin has gotten them to 5 bowls since 2016, which is a good thing. Um, we're talking about a team that plays Army Navy game. Most people aren't aware of that significance. Let me tell you, it's a major one. They play Notre Dame quite often. They've met 34 times or they met 34 times between 1913 and 1947. They don't meet quite as often, but since or from 2018 to the beginning of the rivalry, it was 39-8-4 in Notre Dame's favor, unfortunately for Army. But they really are a powerhouse team in the old days, and they're looking like this year might be one of their good years. Looking like it's going to be a really good year, especially considering who they have left to play in comparison to what they could be. So this is a dark horse. They and Navy are both dark horse for the college football playoffs. I don't foresee it happening, but it could happen. Navy, who is my personal favorite as a jarhead, uh, now they've got one national title. They've got some. They've got Roger Staubach, who a lot of us older folks know. They have an overall record of 741, 657. Them being in the American is good for them. They've got several rivalries. Maryland's considered a rival. SMU, Notre Dame, Johns Hopkins, Air Force, and Army, of course. And they have had a bad few years, but let me tell you, Ken Niumatalolo took them to a bowl game in 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 19. He got fired because he had stopped being able to get them to bowl games. Well, I will say this much. While I liked Ken Niumatalolo, I really did. I liked Paul Johnson. When he went to Georgia Tech, I thought Ken Niumatalolo was an amazing coach for them to get. Their current coach is Brian Newberry, and he's done some pretty good things for this football team. To the point that they are also 3-0. They just beat Memphis, which I would say is a far bigger game than any that Army has played so far. They beat Temple. Army's going to be playing them this week. And they beat Bucknell, which is But I say this, and the midshipmen are my team. Go Navy, beat Army. They have had a few lesser teams overall, but they are still somebody who's had a powerhouse record. They have gone to quite a few of the bowl games. So, yeah, this is another team that, and this year they're showing they can play some football. And it looks like that they are going to be going to a bowl game if they keep playing at the level that they're playing. They've got a good quarterback this year. They've got everything seems to be going good for them this year. So that's why people should pay attention. Now, look, I'm partial to Navy and Army. I know their history a little bit. I've got a listing in my book reviews of one of the books that covers the Army Navy game. But Air Force has got a lot to be respectable about. And listening to folks talk about Oh, Army, Navy, Air Force, they're not used to playing in these big games. Or, well, that's going to be an easy win. Sure, if you're LSU, if you're Alabama, you're Tennessee, sure, that's an easy win. But let me tell you something. Look at Florida football right now. Do you think they could honestly go toe to toe with Army or Navy this year? Air Force they might, just because Air Force is having a down year. And if you get a chance, take a look at the numbers when it comes to the Army Navy game versus the college football playoff. Yeah, it might not generate the money that say the Super Bowl or the college football playoff games do, but it doesn't mean that they haven't had a longer history and can pack in larger crowds if they wanted to. Last time I checked, the tickets aren't even able to get down to say aren't able to get past say majors and lieutenant commanders on the waiting list. You've got president showing up, members of Congress, members of the cabinet. It's broadcast internationally. So when you think that they don't play before a lot of eyes, so they're not used, yeah, they do. And on top of the fact of, yeah, they have down years because you look at the size of those players versus the size of a normal football bowl series player, you're going to go, wow, big difference. And yet they're still in there playing. And oh, yeah, a lot of times they're winning. So when you say anything about the service academies, you need to put some respect on it because them boys in football, oh, they got a long history and they know how to go toe to toe with football teams. And the rest of the sport's pretty freaking good too. But hey, this has been Paul with Redneck Sports. Y'all think about all this about the service academies before y'all go saying something bad about them. Y'all have a good day now. Bye. Thank you for watching this video. I've had some fairly good success with all of my redneck sports stuff, and I hope you enjoyed the topic. If you did, like, subscribe, comment, all that rigmarole, and also just let me know what you want to hear about. I'll give a redneck spin to this stuff. Let me tell you, I love sports. So I love people that want to join me in that. This has been Paul with Redneck Sports. Y'all have a good day now. Bye.